Hi guys, I'm back. We're going to continue right where we left off. So here we go again. So we're talking about the diamond shape of the masculine and the feminine, where she comes into the connection with the diamond light, where she is willing to share. So she divides, but he doesn't see, so her share falls by the wayside. The diamond of two worlds, diamond, two worlds, then she stops and splits to share. As he gets lost in space, because he's not used to that realm, and she drops down and despairs, or the pairs, until she rises above. She turns and shifts to rise above, so that her triangle then is above his triangle, over and above, and his triangle then falls, so he's below and she on top, which then makes the hourglass, where then he can rise into her inside out, through and through to the other side, where then both merged go forward, spinning as the whole Merkaba. X sets the position, Y grows up and down, the roots and branches, until the children start to canopy and come back around. He back to the treasure trunk of the Antakarana bridge. Antakarana is An is one, and Na is not one, and then Takara in the middle is the treasure in the middle of the bridge, until the children reverse and come around, so then she, the feminine, rises. So now we're going to go back to where I cut off on the 7-deck read. I'm going to go as quickly as I can so we don't miss anything. And this was back on the 6th. So we left off at the twin flames are the Knight of Swords messengers of truth. I already told you this part, but it got cut off, so I'm just trying to remember what came up right there. Oh, the description of the twin flames came up. This came up as a really important way to describe the twin flames. So just as the individual is trying to connect with their higher self for enlightenment, it's a process that's unseen. So the twin flames actually come down in order to show people that process by two aspects of themselves coming down, and that mastery of being able to stay connected to source in order to magnetize the two parts of self together literally will show people what that journey is from self to higher self, literally outside of themselves. And that's why it's such a difficult energy. So failure, depression, or a bad reputation and arrogance under the radar, with the Magician upright and the 9 of Pentacles upright, unable to conceive or conceive of walking away or being single again, going within to look back at the Knight of Swords messages or deliveries, chase or arrest, that they won't arrive so that you can leave your circumstance. You must take that leap of faith away from that which no longer serves you, that which no longer makes you happy, abuse, etc. You must shift or clear a space, like I had to do for my video, for the next to come in. Playful, finances, and career. This could be the one, or playfulness, that was coming up from the Romance Angels cards. Gemini and or Virgo independence, or Magician and his assistant, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Around the twins, or how they're seen, was the 2 of Wands reversed and a need to choose a path. With Justice and the Fool and the 4 of Swords upright, and the Ace of Pentacles reversed with the Death card upright and the 3 of Swords upright, with Justice in freedom through meditation and or 5D connection, slowing down the death process, which is another way of looking at this process that you're showing on the outside now as the death process without dying, or playing hardball with the Dark Knight, the Grim Reaper, and walking right into and weathering the storm, allowing love to rain on you or reign over you, a trigger to choose. And the challenge or the block here being the abundance in the Empress Mother issues as a sister, higher self, psychic, or aid, awakens to the Page of Pentacles, a new opportunity to work together to find peace of mind, or a student of the mind, or Mother Teresa, which came up in the beginning of this 7-deck read and from Vitality. The 7 of Pentacles reverse, implementing a plan, coming out of the E-Tower, an energetic exchange, the arrows of love, to make an announcement and come clean with a release or making a plan to start over as the Knight of Pentacles, to offer help in a breakthrough at the new moon, getting over emotions and injury, illness, and recovering from practical matters in a home, union, or celebration of kids perhaps out of control, or a bunch of screaming people like at Vitality, drained or sick of it and not going to take it anymore. As the Queen of Swords reversed and the King of Swords reversed, lovers, dance or perform, do clearly grind for the Page of Cups. Doing the daily grind for the Page of Cups, so for the children, like, the adults, paving the way for the children so it's not so hard for them to go through. The puppy love, or so they will triumph without having to go through what their parents had to go through. Okay? So that was the end of the 7-deck read. And I'm going to go through the rest of it as quickly as I can. I have at least an hour of space, because I made sure to check. The eruption of light came through, as well as the 6 of Cups of the joyous innocent children, just for a moment joy, and the becoming in the energetic exchange, the woman of light, and the beauty of being in meditation and the breath. The Sea of Love was posted on the 8th, along with the energy of the journey of good news, epiphanies, and sudden events, blowing their top, their crown, their mind, and the transition to the stars for dreams to come true. For the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups, time to wake up and be still. So it's like hurry up and wait energy, and then just be. And then 3, 2, 1, leap. But again, that's going the other direction, so just be still. Okay? And then the years 1613, 1738, and 1317 came up. You can look them up if you want, as well as 920 came up, and 161. So then Adamant came up. Excuse me. Because when I was guided to Elena Danan's book to open to a page, and I think it was from from page 338, she was talking about adamantine light as that diamond light that she uses in order to connect to Thorhan, or the Pleiades. And adamant is unbreakable. It's very hard material, like a diamond. It's a bulky hydrocarbon. And adamant means literally invulnerable, natural magnet, or magnetite, diamond, iodostone. So it's C10H16 and has a cage-like structure. And I wanted to show you the picture of it. This is the molecule. So literally, look at it at different positions, because I was getting different downloads of this. Literally is 2 hexagons crossing over at like not quite a 90-degree angle, maybe a little less, because it's curved here, and then a diamond sticking out of those 2 hexagons, right? Which sounds like union, right? And they called it an armchair. So the carbon and hydrogen were coming up here again too, because the C is that leap of the dot to dot of the line, and it's also a backwards D, and H is that 1 to 1 in the middle of the infinity symbol, or that hourglass. The bridge across the narrowest point, like birthing a kid out of your narrowest point. It takes 9 months to get across. It may take 9 years to get a cross, or like atypical, not cross or uncrossed. So adamantine is also bringing up Adam ant, which again is that, that powerful little ant, and how powerful ants actually are, how much they can actually carry. Adam ant has an A on his white shirt with a helmet, and his little antlers, or his antenna rather, sticking out of holes in his helmet. And he helps law enforcement with citizens in trouble. He conks the villains and punches the robot, the metal robot of the fire-breathing dragon with his atomic power. Adam and Eve with adamantane, or it's I-N-E and A-N-E. There's 2 different words, but they have somewhat similar meanings. But adamantane is coming up as Adam and Eve with Father Tan Man, or human, between. Adam and Anti-N-E, which is coming up as N-E means we, none, or any, and then Lord, L or D, and Taurus, T or us, NE also means to be and become, and human, person, and de place. I'm getting de plane, de plane, de place, de place. The water, the river, and number 4, to eat, lip, house. And again brought up the Lord, and Taurus, which is that 2 are us, and L or D, right? L is that right angle of X and Y, or D of the planetary divine spin. And then the Taurus of 2 are us, of the T or tree, or us, right? The 2 or the divine 3 of the trident. Left at right angle or divine axis spin of the tree, which is T, and Re, which is shaman, or us. The Lord is also low road, or low RD. Low are the divine axis spin on the earth, the 3D realm, and 2 are us. Or the L is the X and Y axis, which is also, L is half of the letter D. X and Y humans are the planet. 2 are us, the low road of duality. The Taurus reversed is Surat, the bedbug or birth interval between births. So that in-between state is coming up as the time between births. The accusing finger in someone's eye or face, or first-class rice species, the unhusked grain. Adam anti, coming up from adamant and adamantine, Adam anti house water, to eat human, antichrist temple energy, 2 rockets on planet co-create 1 spike. And again, there's that spike right there. Or branch, like the tree, the horn, the teenager. You kindle, you set on fire, rage smart, to shut or enclose, the fig tree. To throw, bent wood, box, again the treasure chest. Close, to pluck, rattle. To remove fish, to remove the on from the grain, the nut from the shell. 2 rockets on the planet co-create a teen. So the energy of a teen who gets closed in, what do? They set the world on fire to get out. So it's again that triggering energy to create this extreme energy here. And that's when I posted the 1VXLCM, because there's an energy of 666 that came up with it. If you add 1VXLCD, it equals 666. If you, the actual number 1VXLCDM, I think was 556. It wasn't 666. But if you add all of them up to D together, it becomes 666. And I posted that on my Insta, so you can check that out if you want to. Yeah, the King of Wands, and again the 2 and the 3, which is the King of Wands, 23, and the 2 out of 3 was coming up here, because you notice with 1 and V, if you put them together, it's the Y, right? V over the 1, and that the V is the feminine energy, right? The upside down pyramid, and the 1 is coming up as the masculine energy. That's very phallic right there. So the Y represents them coming together, and then the X, like we talked about, is the energy of the stationing, so to speak. X marks the spot, and the L of the right degree angle, 90 degrees angle. And the number 4 came up, and X equals 6, and again the energy of the masculine and the feminine, and the 5 being in the middle, that in-between state of change. The innocent ones grounding and integrating peace of mind or knowingness. The wise one hermit grounding and integrating, that they together are 10. The King of Wands and she, the Ace of Wands. So the King of Wands is coming up as him holding her. She is the Ace of Wands. She's the actual energy, and he's the one who directs that energy. The Queen's Gambit. He holds her and guides her. K is 1 less than wand, or to use, plus, as the feminine is all expansive and the King of Wands holds her down. She is the flame, he is the embodiment, or the body, the avatar, that keeps her here. And then the word here and now came up. Here, which is he, R-E, and then her, E. He, the shaman, and her energy of the temple, the push and pull of the planet. T and M were coming up. And then now is no to use. And Christed, Christ to ed. Or again, the Christed human to source energy, and ow, sometimes it hurts. Or Christ did O's to use. So then I'd done a meditation for your, I think it was the first video on 9/8, which came back around in my message yesterday. So we'll get there when we get there. All right. So on the 9th, 9/9, that portal day, I was playing with my cards, and the elk and the moose keep coming up because they came up this day as well as yesterday too. The energy of the eagle here with the squirrel and the hummingbird, and again the eagle with the page of wands collecting nuts. The energy of the squirrel. The high vibe pollinating of the hummingbird, which is 44 here. And they're both 8s, notice, 26 and 44. Grounding and integrating her harvest, the magician, which is the eagle, is E as glee. The eagle who collects and sings. And then the degrees came up of the, instead of the mother being the 13th degree, coming up as the 14th degree, the angel, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, between 21 of the world and 1 of the magician, all and 1. And the 14, of course, is the 1 for all, which came up in my Insta message again today, which I wasn't relating that to this. 1 for all and all for 1, where 14 and 15 is also the angel and demons, and a sudden event with the 13, the transition bridge to the light and the shadow, where ADM, Adam is ADM, and 29 coming up is the gift, 3 of Wands is the big gift of the elephant coming up here, right? Eli means big and gift, and then font is the breath. So the big gift of the breath of adamant, which all that power, who's invincible. The Adam is the A room, because that's coming up as the farm is the masculine. The F is the gamma energy of the twin flames, and then the arm, like a branch of a tree. The A room, which is the masculine, and then the LF is the left feminine, is the X. As I lose my voice. And there's that energy of the E. He is the ray. He's that RY of the ray, co-creating, and she's the LF of, which is also LX of the lux, illuminating. He's the admin room, the father's arm, and she the left field, where Armant is to dub night, to arm, to excite, to provoke, grace, mercy, and proposal. With Adam and Eve, the RM and LF, or RY and LX, the mother's elf. So he's coming up as the farm, F and arm, and she's coming up as the MELF, instead of MILF, MELF, the mother's elf. The white dwarf, magical, 11, brownie, 1,000, spirit, and fairy all come up with the elf. So this whole page came up regarding farm and MELF. The masculine as F arm and the feminine as M elf, right? The father, and notice that farm ends in F and M, and MELF ends with F and M, and one has R in the middle for the Adam energy, and then she's got the L energy in the middle for the Eve energy. So the F room and the MLF, which means leaf or 2, and left field. And then the energy of velveteen was coming up, which has to do with the, the antlers of the elk and the moose, which keep coming up. And also laughter was coming up, humor. And velvet without ed, or Mr. Ed, or education, or extra dimensional, to soften and mitigate. The twin flame digamma returned missionary of co-creators 2 out in left field. The father are male, the mother L female. The horse farm of the father and the horse melf of the mother. Literally, he's coming up as the horse farm, like hippocampus, and she's coming up as the horse milliner, who supplies the trappings for the horses. Mrs. Ed, like Mrs. Claus. The one who double leaps. And the hippocampus has to do with memory, and then the hippomanes come up, which is the wild horse, which must be tamed. So she brings up all the supplies to take care of the horses for his farm. And her side was coming up with elves who co-create, and then have that love potion of hippomanes from the wild horse, the ancient love filter from the mare or foal in heat. The hippo, and then the different hippos were coming up. But Hippocrates was coming up on the feminine side too, as the father of medicine and of Cos, which is funny because it's my dad's nickname, or horse crates. Hippocrates is horse crates. So again, having to do with supplies on the farm. And then one who loves horses is hippophile. And again, the filly, to scathe light horse with flaw, defect, deformity, fault, or vice. Digamma twin flame house of the masculine with open door co-creating, and co-creating X and Y at 90 degrees, left at the right angle, the lambda digamma twin flame on the feminine side. Twin flame masculine co-creating with co-creating feminine twin flame. Okay. And I posted the triangle in a circle with a rainbow on Instagram. So check that out for this page. I'm going to skip by that because that's on Instagram, so you can read about that. But again, just briefly, it had to do with, again, the trident with the Taurus, the two lovers and the three keys, two are us, and the trident star, Hercules eruption with Atlas, the weight within and the weight without, as Hercules flexes their muscle and Atlas carries the weight. Two in the ENT tree, the temple of Christ to Ed, or Christed, the whispering bench, the ark, the arch, the leap, the rainbow bridge, etc. And then here is my message of the day, which I told you I'd bring you. And this is the Journey of Love, the Shaman deck, the Inner Child, and then the Energy deck as well. Okay, so here's the picture of the read. On the left is the underlying energies, and 3 cards are pulled, and then more if they organically want to come out. And I pulled a couple cards from the Ascension deck over here as well. Okay, so these were pulled on the 9th at 6:21 through 6:25. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, which is the world through all of the fire signs, right? The Fool, and then the King of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. And the cards at the end were just ones. So it's 1111 came out, which in Gematria, the first entry is Twin Flame. The energy of the Moon, 1129, Intergalactic Council. The 26 of Gold and Silver Cloak, and the underlying energy of the 25, which is the Knight of Wands, and the Veils of Illusion. The underlying intimacy, 35, and 45 of Repairing the Veil, 5 to be true to who you are, and the 2 of Journey. Surrender in the vortex with forgiveness to get over the hurt, the loss, and regret. Tying the pages back together, top down, like the children in the canopy. With the 26, which is, if you put 26 together, it's the butterfly. At the root, the Page of Wands in the middle. 35, 45, and then 5 came up, so 3, 4, 5 with the 5s, and the 5 is in the middle. As fear will not stop you from shining as your higher self, unicorn, in the middle of the bridge. 2, the vortex, the bridging, the unicorn, suspension bridge. Bags packed and nowhere to go, because you're already here. The 17 of her grace and the 20 of sweet soul rising. The star wakes little one, the Knight of Cups, letting the feminine lead the way to surrender to intimacy. In source, Ma sees why, that's intimacy. The star reaches out to raise them up as the Knight of Cups surrenders to the first card here, the 51, King of Swords, to dream a little. 53 with the Knight of Swords, and the joy, the legacy of light. And she in the vortex, he was sleeping bag. As Shakti sun burns bright, which is the feminine sun, as the vortex spins with the legacy of light, a shock of source 19 feminine sun exposing the King of Cups to fire and ice. The King of Swords takes action to speak as the sun Shakti source, the feminine horse, the Knight of Cups to King of Swords, and the Knight of Swords to King of Cups. The golden light turns white in fire and ice, with sun in the middle. She red and he blue, as she sees golden and he sees white, as the golden white sun rays shine bright. The Shakti of Shakti is source of the Shak ray, or the chakra system, or the rays. The source ray equals fires, rights, throws, and the letter F's, tie, strip, cop, residing, dwelling, leftovers, absent, and unused were coming up there for TIRA. With the Knight of Swords, the stranger who's curious here, with the 55, the further gate, the 45 of repairing the veil, and bold step forward to forgiveness. At 100% right there, which 55 and 45 came up together. The double airlock in a crack of the mountain, the page of the book, the truth that sets you free, the Liberty Bell came up again. The first card out next is the 42, again, the Liberty Bell rings. And they're off. 42 of the Two of Cups, the Netcaster, that just came up now. The Netcaster 42 of 1-1, the Two of Cups, and the 60 of Watchers of Peace. The 25 of the Garden of Venus and the Knight of Swords, with the truth to recover, 1-1 in peace, with the Knight of Wands in the garden. She casts a net, and totems watch peacefully, as the Garden of Venus all prepared, with the Knight of Wands for his rest and renewal, or their rest and renewal, at 7:09. A tidy house, number 1, well grounded by the tree. I was just getting a tutor. And also, by the way, when I was just out with Teddy before I did the video out back, I just looked over the fence, and as I looked away, I literally saw Bambi, which was interesting too, because I posted about Bambi, because there was a cloud picture of Thumper and Clarice, which is what Bambi's original name was, but now if you go online, they deny that that was ever her name. But she's, in the cartoon, she's Faline, but they were originally little stuffed animals. I actually have the picture here. Let me show you. So if you're not familiar, right? So this was the original Bambi with Clarice, and she was so cute. And also, Mary's bath was coming up too, so I want to show you this picture while I have it open. So look at the tree. This was a representation from alchemy of Mary's bath, the double boiler. And look at the tree inside of it, inside the diamond shape. Okay? So the tidy house, well grounded by tree, at the garden moon gate of magician embodiment. And there was a moon gate I just showed you. After a nighttime story, and after a nighttime or story time, to pull up the covers in peaceful tie-on, or the tiger-lioness connection, in the garden of Gethsemane, or Gethsemane, Hansel and Gretel's treehouse. As Hans sells and Gray tells, the energy of Hans are his too, and Gret, to grieve or be great. You have to ask Mommy, honey, I'm busy right now. Go get Mama. So Han also means the Happiness Hotel, where the Happiness Hotel sells with steps to kindness and goodwill to all. 2, to grieve or be great, in the treehouse by the lake. At 7:27, the underlying energy, which is the Chariot and the Ace of Wands, which is the divine feminine energy in the Chariot, igniting the Chariot like the gas in the tank. The 27 then, on top of 727, the 27 card was the first card there, to pull yourself close with the 37 King of Cups and write a letter, the 40 of the Page of Cups, that you are worthy of it all. The inner child, my love. The 18 of the Moon, and it's okay to be misunderstood. The 5 of the Hierophant, and freedom, change, and expansion, to be true to who you are. The Ace of Wands, King of Cups, and Page of Cups, romance of freedom, and the Swan and the Unicorn. With Leo, Gemini or Virgo, Taurus, Pisces or Virgo, and then the King of Cups versus the King of Wands, right? The man of love versus the man of passion. The 42, you deserve to be seen as the blue jay and the dear one come up here, 1 to 1. The King of Wands, let it go. Be strong and choose yourself today. Do not deny your importance. The 6 of Lovers, become aware and listen to wisdom of the body. Greased lightning before unicorn and deer. The Page of Cups, 1 to 1 with the King of Wands at 7:39. And there's that number again from April 9th. I said there was 4 New Years this year instead of 1. And that was that first one on April 9th. It was the 739000 day. April 9th. The underlying energy of 5 of attachment, the 27 of walking away, the 34 of the door to personal healing and happiness, and the 2 of the journey across the bridge. Removing the mask and walking out of a swinging door. The Hierophant, the Ace of Wands, the 8 of Wands in energetic exchange or hours of love, and the High Priestess or higher self. A lot of back and forth across the bridge, looking back as you leave from both sides and 2 perspectives. Back and forth between 3D passions and higher self, as the next first card is the 31, which is today's energy, in the door to value, and the 29, which is the 3 of Wands in the world, the 30 of the garden and the gate, and the 23 all tied up. As the higher self opens the door to self-value around the world, a gift from the stars of home and union, the garden with a gate and the King of Wands all tied up. A group gift of the damsel in distress. The crossing the door to value and seen from the dock, and the dock of the bay had been coming up in my rainbow post. The little girl at home in need of rescue with the higher self and the King of Wands. The knight and the wounded warrior grieving a marriage, a contract, or Hierophant's journey, which can be the institution. The King of Swords with 2 of Cups and 2 of Cups again, and the 5 of Wands, of 1 to 1 and 1 to 1 with twin bridges to the door of value, where she prepares for blue jay. Remember the masculine was blue here and she was the red. So she's coming up as the blue jay, and the dear one, winter snow, having opened the gate across the bridge. And that was coming up as a bridge that I opened with someone I had a session with from Canada to the US. And that was back in July 23rd actually, which is the King of Wands. At 8:44, which is the 8 of infinity and strength and dreams, and the 44 of the 4 of Cups, but also Hercules, her harvest. The Knight of Swords with Peace Totem and the King of Wands, a gift from off-planet, as the Knight of Swords piggybacks, bridge to bridge, of peace in the desert, or camp out with a sleeping bag. One present on the dock of another world, watching Earth, specifically little girl. The garden gate all tied up with the King of Wands, hostage of. Shakti Sun and Knight of Wands, Leo here, little girl at home. The King of Cups magician, lover and King of Wands, as the King of Cups sees the light and takes cover in the treehouse and heads for the hills to become aware, to see the King of Wands actually a damsel in distress, this dress, or left behind, as the King of Wands must save themselves. At 42, the partners holding coin as the 47 7 of Cups is with the thinking woman. The 26, the Page of Wands, who's hostile towards Little Red Riding Hood. At the Y with too many choices. Aries, Cancer, and that could be someone who can't make up their mind, right? So Aries, Cancer, Scorpio watching the 6 of Cups. Perhaps Leo and Scorpio, who are both fixed signs, who have trouble, right, being a mutable sign. And then Taurus with passion to exchange with higher self, or Pisces or Virgo there, crossing over. As the underlying energy of 4 and stable family with the 7 of 3 girls, or the community, the 16 of patience and epiphanies of liberty at 10-11, and then the 4 of the family, and this could be a family of 4 plus 3 teens, which can represent the community. The Emperor, the Chariot, and the Tower. The 42 of the woman who has it all, the mother and daughter, or women with coin going back to school. And the Page of Wands with attitude, with 26, and that was that day's energy. 3 on guard at the Y in the road, as the dance of indecision of the thinking man, 46, which is the 6 of Cups, Scorpio with financial constraints or empty cupboards, cupboards, removing the mask and new passion to walk away, to be there, done that, and heading in a new direction. The gift waiting on the dock of the bay. They're waiting to see if you find it. So then the dock of the bay came up with this imagery, which I'm going to show you real quick, so I don't have to go into too many details. But again, the H of the two bridges and the bridge across. And again, that came up in my Instagram as a dock, literally. And the dock of the bay was coming up as Ea, as the doctor of Serapis Bay. And then the energy of the tunneling energy in suspended animation of what the portal is, but what it would look like in 3D. And the dance between the left and the right creates the spiral tunnel portal between the bridge and the tunnel is the portal. So in my rainbow post that I did for Instagram, it was showing you the upper part of the rainbow is the bridge of the feminine, and the underground tunneling is the masculine taking the short way through. And then the middle was that dock, which is the portal. The portal's between the two bursts, between the bridge and the tunnel. Very interesting. That's just coming through. So crossing the bridge to the red doors was coming up, and red is the root, and the re or the shaman, the open door. One on the suspension bridge and one on the dock of the bay. And that was coming up as the twin bridges, but not next to each other, the leapfrog. And then the Chesapeake Bay Bridge was coming up. And it was funny because Sex and the City was on in the background, and the Brooklyn Bridge came up. They're constantly saying whatever I'm writing at the time. It's really cool. So those bridges were coming up, as well as that Forever Bridge from Virginia Beach. Yeah. And then again, Mana Joya came up from Vitality, from the Divine Mother. Let's see here. So then, yeah, Mary's Bath came up on the 9th as well. That double boiler. Mary's Bath, the Bain Marie, the double boiler. Mary the Jewess, it was also called, which used to be over 100 degrees, go up to that, but I guess it's under 100 now. And also, she was called the Ancient Alchemist. And again, the picture I showed you. A vapor top Bain Marie heats with scalding hot steam, and their steam is vapor, like Eden. Eden means vapor in alchemy. The picture is like the two suction cups that I'd seen in my meditation before, used in soap, perfume, dyeing candles back then, and cooked by steam or vapor. And Hippocrates' writings were coming up. So Miriam is Mary, Maria in Greek, one of the sages in alchemy. The double boiler used to melt soft metals like copper or lead, mercury or sulfur, etc. The Queen of Wands energetic exchange aligning with exploding stars. And then the Pleiades and Sirius were coming up here with Ea and PT, as in tea drink though, is coming up with Ea of the Sir Ea and ease. The fruit, the nurse, the care, the debate. And Eos is court of law and right, both juice and gravy, but Eos also translates to Jesus in Wiktionary. So nurse care aids, the pull of aids, and fruit aids all coming up. And then in ballet, that shape that I showed you here was like a plie, which the plie came up here. So again, there's that plie shape. So it's very significant, that bath. The plie of Sir Jesus, or Prince Ea, like the picture. The debate in the sea of laughter of Sirius, or Rias, which is laughter, perhaps a roast. Full care Ea of the Creus, or court or law, where the Pleiades is Pleia, DES, and then Sir Ea, S. It was coming up as Pli de Sir and Society of IR, and which is where I worked before with my dad, and Pli de Sir, which is the sister, and Pleaful, dump, round, replete, abounding plenary meeting coming up there too. A strike where more money to fill, debate, plea, beseech, and petition. A plenary session of comedians versus Syrians. Again, so, the ones who were funny versus the serious ones. But it's coming up as a roast of some kind, or a debate, which is the political debates. I wasn't even catching that the first time. The energy, and then again from Sex and the City, in the background, it was at the time where she was dating Alexandra Petrovsky, and he kept calling her a comic. So here this was coming up. And again, the Russian, the Red Russian, who's serious. Ea, comic and doctor, and Pleia of Sir Ea, the doc of the Bey means Lord and Master as well, and Serapis Bey, or Sarah Pies, the evening of the pies. The Pleiades and Ea of the Sirius, or Lord Sirius, and the energy of the Queen of Cups of being enough, with the Page of Wands excited, practicing freedom, and the 27 of pulling yourself close, the Ace of Wands of flame and passion, and the 33 to speak to self with kindness, the 10 of disappointment that this is not the end, the 44 that you know the way, the bridge, the wheel of high vibration, and Hercules. The Queen of Cups, and then Newton's Cradle came up with the balls, which I also posted in one of my pics this week, with laughter and the Queen's Gambit. And again, the two circles crossing, making the pea in the pod. But then if you have the third circle crossing, you have the two peas in a pod. Which, by the way, Teddy has a new toy with two peas in a pod. The Queen's Gambit, 33, 10, and 44. I didn't even notice this. And what did I just tell you today? Was 133, 000 to 144. And here's 33, 10, 44. The destined high vibe number 77. And the divine feminine burst, the pawn, the pages, the choice, the gems or gams. And then 3344 was coming up with the singularity symbol, right, of the sun, the circle with the dot in the middle. And again, my business being Twin Flames 3344. And the pulse was coming up. And the singularity between 3 and 4, which the 3 is the horizontal eagle soaring and the 4 is the phoenix rising. And it was coming up again as the actual pulse of the heart, and the pulsing sound of the tree and the flames, and then the 68 Page of Pentacles came up, the house fire, and the lover's dance of desire. And Evelyn also translates into the lightening up with the definitions and the waterfall, which is the heartbeat. So then on the 10th, they kept guiding me to I don't know how much time I have left, at least 15 minutes, so we'll see how much I can get through this. So Rhea came up, right? Because Red and Re were coming up with Rhea, R-H-E-A, and she is the child of Uranus and Gaia. And again, when in Vitality, Mother was telling me that Joya is Gaia, so G-A-E-A, but again with a soft G, Joya. And Uranus is coming up as you are one of us. And from Uranus is Kuwait, right? Is the Mesopotamian Kuwait. So Uranus is coming as Anus, right? Or the butt of Iraq. The Salt Lakes, which were all dried up there. And then where the Euphrates cat and the tigress meet. And this was coming up from a page of 2350 BC of the King of Wands and the 10 of Cups of emotional fulfillment. Of Kuwait, which is then where, okay, you wait, right? Where I told before, the feminine was coming up as having to wait for the masculine to then come around. And the joy or Gaia of Persian Gulf, so Gaia is coming up with Gulf and the stream, and Gulf is also bosom, as Sam was talking about her breast cancer on Sex and the City. The hollow place, the basin, Mary's basin, the whirlpool, the sucking eddy, the wide gap space, and large difficult the large differences between groups, those who just barely pass the test, or to curve, right? Make a curve on the test so people pass. The arch to make it easier. So that was all coming up with golf, which is coming up. All right, so then they were separating sides to Enki and Enlil, well, the Persian Gulf and then the Red Sea. Right, the Red Sea to Israel is where El took over, Enlil, and then Ea was over with the Ark at the Persian Gulf. You know, if you look at the map, they're like two arms around. They're two arms around Saudi Arabia, and of course Kuwait, and then all the oil that's there. And what keeps coming up for me with the oil there, because I was already getting some kind of under earthquake or erupting event, wherever it comes from, was coming from the middle of the Indian Ocean. But literally this day, on the 10th, I was getting a rupture, literally to literally split the two apart, like through Kuwait, through Iraq and Iran is literally the elephant's head and the elephant's body. If you look at the map, you'll see it. And the elephant is being shown as being stretched too thin, right? Their head is literally the Iraq is the elephant's head spouting onto Israel and Jordan, okay? And the elephant's body is Iran pooping in all of the stands. The two ears are Saudi Arabia, and then Sirius on the other side with Turkey. Turkey is to our key. And then the energy of the lands breaking apart because the elephant can't take it anymore. The Joya of Gaia and the Persian Gulf Stream, and Gi with the water, right? So AIA for Gaia is water. So the G is also the T leaping with the C. So the little T leaping in the water, the lady in wait is Kuwait, and then Uranus with G, lady in waiting, Uranus and Gaia, to hurry up and wait at Kuwait, K, you wait, and then the tutor, while the tutor of two Tor. Okay? So, what else? So AIA of Gaia is literally lady in waiting. G, lady in waiting. So then Go Elf was also coming up. And again, I drew the picture of the map, a rough picture, but the parallel of the Red Sea, at the top of the Red Sea is also the two fingers, like the two arms of the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. So it's like mimicking the big and the little, the big of the two arms and then the two fingers at Mount Sinai, which is supposed to be El and Enlil, right? The false energy of Jeshua being Yahweh, which Elena Danaan talks a lot about. The Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman and Yemen and Oman, and the Arabian Sea. And again, the Pleiades, the Pleiad is the French poets of 6th century, the storm, the rain, and the Pleiadians, the seven sisters in Taurus. And then the Father with Mother Gaia and Uranus salt lakes, melting pot. Rhea, the child of Joya and Uranus, Gaia and Uranus, Ray News, Rhea had Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, so she's the mother, my three sons, and the Gulf, Gaia, Joya, Jewel. If two, treasure you two, G.I. Joe, G.U., leaf two, or two leave, and then Golden Gate of I.U., Pooper, and Pier sitting on the dock of the bay. So there's a lot about G.I. tract stuff going on there. So transform yourself into butterflies. only have a few minutes left here before it might go out again, just so you know. All right, so here's more on the stuff with the Middle East. The African elephant with flame and trunk over Israel can smell them a mile away. The twin flames, like you becoming one, like I said, decide to come in as two parts to merge with higher self, grounding this higher self process into our reality, grounding heaven on earth with those witness to it. The Christed flame, again, Christ is literally the CH of the horsepower, and wrist is literally the cross. The horsepower is 144 turns of the water wheel, or the instep, the grid, the crossroads in motion. The flame in the Digamma angel, me, which me is the word for a gift of civilization back in Mesopotamia. At 11:11, the Christ flame, and the Christ is anointed, the anointed horsepower at the crossroads, at the intersection. The flame bursting forth in the heart of man. And then Israel was coming up as Israel. Like I said, that was the track of El, where the other arm was the track of Ea. Israel. And the energy of wrist is also the crossroads, the instep, the grid, the mesh. And notice the Israel and I-Ray Q and I-Ray N. And then when you get to Saudi Arabia, though, it's then A-Ra B Ea. So there's a lot of play with the words, and Ea is all over this. I'm looking at the table. Yeah, and Ezra is coming up too, as Israel, Ezra-el. Easy Ray L. And Saudi Arabia is coming up as S-A-U, of course, is gold, and then Dai is division or two. So again, gas is under Saudi Arabia. I was getting the energy of the stench wherever, because of the gas taken from the ground, like sulfur, like when you poop, having to light a match. And also comes up in my animal deck as the skunk, right, with self-protecting stink, something natural instead of something artificial or harmful, right? It's harmful in the moment, but ultimately it goes away. And Ezra full body scans also came up, which was, I think it's an MRI full body scan as opposed to a CT body scan. And then the earth. So again, Earth and Lilith were coming up as Enki and Enlil. En means Lord, En, and then Ki is the earth. So earth is literally Ea's RTH, or earth. The infinite open house of Mother Nature. And the Kali is them together. So Ea is coming up as the Kali, and then Lilith is coming up as the Lily, because that Lilith energy is coming up of the Lily to the nth degree, that it's all about me. And the earthlings. I'll talk to you later, honey. And then Israel backwards is Learsi, Learsi, which means learning. The learning. And also Arsi is divine throne of the heavens. So Israel then would be not learning. So it's really interesting how it always works out in the way that you end up describing it. The Christ flame, the horsepower and the path of the instep. The Digamma twin flame angel, me, which is the gift of civilization, and the co-creation temple. The path of divine growth and art, stone to flow, and process of burning. And then Woody and Buzz